it's black to play in this position. Can you find the best move for black? Most calculation mistakes happen on move 1, as Dvoretsky said. People don't give themselves enough choices on the very first move. They see one good-looking idea, they go into a tunnel, they try to calculate 10 moves ahead, and they never ask themselves whether there were alternatives very early on. That's the topic of today's episode, folks. This will also connect to my clamp concept in finding chess tactics. All right? Checks, loose pieces, alignments, mobility restrictions, and pass pawns. They compromise all chess tactics, and they can be boiled down to one of those 5 letters in chess. First observations. We always start with the orientation phase, right? Material is equal in its position. Black has concentration of the pieces on the king side, right? We have attacking chances, obviously, on the king side. What are the loose points in the white camp? The pawn on g2 is a loose pawn. Why? It's hit once by the knight and guard only once by the king. As you know, loose pieces or pawns have equal number of attackers and defenders. 1 to 1 makes that pawn a loose pawn. How about the alignments? The queen and the pawn are aligned on the g file, right? Tactics usually emerge from loose pieces and alignments in chess. This already makes this little pawn on g2 vulnerable. And we are searching for ideas to potentially move the bishop, obviously, to create this double threat on the pawn on g2, which would not only be a single double threat to win a pawn, indeed, that will create a checkmate threat with queen takes g2. So, obviously, our attention is totally about moving the bishop somewhere, is a discovered attack, to follow it up with queen takes g2 check, right? How about the opponent's ideas? You see the alignment on this diagonal. If it's white's turn, they would most likely chop off our knight on f4 and trade off that dangerous piece, okay? So, the opponent has a positional threat, let's say, of taking the knight on f4. So, we have to be very fast in getting what we want as black. That's the conclusion. All right. So, how do we find this bishop move? The question becomes, can we, in a very multi-purpose way, move the bishop somewhere to reiterate, maybe even reinforce our attack on the pawn on g2, which is the weakest point around the white king in this position, right? So, then the question becomes, how do I move my bishop somewhere to attack the pawn once again? Maybe some of you thought about the move bishop h3. Looks very reasonable indeed, right? Why don't we just attack the pawn once again while also creating this queen g2 checkmate idea? Looks reasonable, right? Maybe some of you thought about the move bishop d1. Why don't we attack the queen on c2 to create this double attack on the pawn on g2 as well as the queen on c2, right? Also looks very reasonable. How about the bishop move to f5, you might say? I will move the bishop to f5 because, well, if you take care of this threat, I will take your bishop on d3, winning a piece, right? Suddenly, we have, well, 1, 2, and 3, maybe even 4, bishop e2, good-looking options for black, right? But I want you to come up with one more choice for black, obviously, in this position that also attacks the pawn on g2, folks. And you're a great player if you saw the move bishop f3 as well. What does bishop f3 do to the position that all other moves don't do? You tell me, what is the difference between bishop f3 and, let's say, bishop h3 for black? Bishop f3 also pins the pawn on g2. Can you see it, folks? The pawn can no longer go to g3 to parry this checkmate threat. Bishop f3 is thus stronger than bishop h3 in this position. If your goal is to checkmate the white king, which should obviously be the case, right? Bishop f3 is the only winning move for black. Congratulations if you found that, right? So, suddenly there are 3 attackers on that pawn and a single defender. Incredible. Here it was 1 to 1. After bishop f3, it's 3 to 1, right? You coordinate all your pieces on a single unit. That's how you coordinate your pieces. Okay? g3 is out of cards because the pawn is pinned. Bishop f4 will be answered by queen g2 check anyway. And rook g1, it seems to be one of the only moves for white to guard g2, will be answered by bishop g2 check, forcing a checkmate in 2. Finally, after bishop f3, folks, bishop f1 guards the pawn, but nothing changes. You take on g2. Now, if the bishop takes, queen g2 is checkmate. And the final nuance, king g1 will be answered by a knight mate on h3. Look at the beautiful black pieces. 3 attackers, 1 defender, as Mikhail Tal said. They usually lead to checkmate. That's called Mikhail Tal's checkmate ratio. 3 attackers, only 1 defender, let's say bishop on f1. Usually, he told us, leads to checkmate in chess. One of those cases. Okay, but the devil lies in detail. Why do other moves fail in this position as black, right? It takes a good player to also see the opponent's resources. Bishop h3 fails because of g3. The pawn can now move, unlike in the main line. And now, well, there's no mate on g2. These ideas are coming. And the best you have is queen h5, folks, with this little idea. But white now has a chance to stop you from playing queen f3 check. And white is totally in the game. The king is safe on h1. Crazy. Well, bishop d1 looks very reasonable as well. Double threat on the queen, also on the pawn on g2. The opponent's resources. Bishop takes f4. Takes a knight while also hitting your queen on f4. There is no more checkmate on g2. And the best black has in this position is to go for this trade. Well, in this position, yes, you have 1 extra pawn, but opposite color bishops. White pieces are quite active. And this is not winnable for black. White is very close to full equality in this position. The same goes with bishop f5, folks. Looks like a double threat. But of course, white will still take your knight with tempo on the queen on g5. After takes, this game is totally equal with equal material. And if you simply improve your rook to e8 to challenge the open file, white still chops off your dangerous knight on f4. And this position after f3 especially, the queen also guards the second rank, is completely fine for white. Can you see it, folks? How we found the only winning move by carefully observing the weakest point around the white king, by giving ourselves choices on the very first move. Candidate move generation is it's called in chess literature, right? And once you spotted bishop f3 to also stop the opponent's move g3, everything became crystal clear. Whenever there are discovered attack options in chess, like in this case, the bishop has so many ways to move to have this discovered attack on the pawn on g2, candidate move generation becomes even more important. You should give yourself several choices to choose from on the very first move. Usually mistakes happen, as I said, on the very first move in those positions. This is your homework position to consolidate our lesson today, folks. Another beautiful calculation exercise. It's equal material right now in this position. The bishop just moved to d5 to attack the rook on c4. White to play. What should white play in this position? Please judge the position carefully. Look at the entire board. Look at those loose points potentially around the black king. Look at the alignments present in the position, and this will give you an idea. Just like in the first position, a beautiful idea is waiting for you. But for that, you need to also look at the opponent's resources. Try to find the best option for black that could refute your ideas. And once you spot this good-looking move, please also calculate until the very end and write to me the entire line on YouTube. I will give you feedback to each and every one of you for engaging with my homework positions. I'm wishing you all the best. I hope you benefited from this video, and you would make me happy if you give me a like and subscribe to this channel so I can keep on producing content that helps you improve your game. If you want to consolidate these calculation lessons, please check my award-winning course on Chessable, Fundamental Chess Calculation Skills. It contains a separate chapter on candidate moves and the importance of giving ourselves choices on the very first move. Catch you later, folks. Thank you so much.